Alrighty, so I have now finished putting up the paneling on the wall. This is day 2 of the project. This is a pine paneling tongue and groove. And this is the bench that I built yesterday, and that's in its final position. As you can see, I only brought the paneling down to just below the workbench. So below the workbench is not paneled. Of course, when this is all done, you won't be able to see that. This wall here, and then this little bump out wall that I built, that I paneled on this side, and I will continue with that. That one I paneled all the way down because you will see that. There'll be a small workbench that I'm going to build to take up this space here, and I'm going to do that next. Alrighty, I got the second bench built and the bottom shelf put on. Again, I just built it as a freestanding independent bench, just a little bit smaller scale than the larger bench. I didn't worry too much about that junction right there. I don't really, it's a workbench, doesn't need to be perfect. This ain't fine cabinetry. So it fits pretty good. I did err on the side of a little bit shorter, just to make sure I didn't have any problems with the fit. And I put a level on this bench. It is perfectly level front to back. It's perfectly level side to side. So I was pretty impressed that it turned out as even as it did. If you do notice, this bench is about almost an inch lower than the existing bench. That is because on this bench I will be putting a plywood top on. I made the decision I'm going to put a plywood top on. That's why I have these cross braces screwed in to support the plywood top. This smaller bench over here is going to get a 2x4 top. So that difference in the thickness of the top is the reason why this bench is slightly shorter, so that when we get the final countertops on both of these, they should be pretty close to being the same height when it's all said and done. So hopefully, if all my measuring was right, they'll be the same height. So let's go ahead and cut some plywood and start cutting some 2x4s and get the tops on these. This bench right here, as you see, is 21 inches from the wall. The final counter length depth will be 24 inches. So that's the size of that box. It's approximately about 52.5 inches long, so to cover that space. So I'll take a step back here so you can see the whole project up until now. Again, that little bump out wall and the 2 benches with all the paneling. So it's coming together. Alrighty, got everything all done that I wanted to accomplish today. Got the countertops on. This is the smaller bench with the 2x4 top. And this is the larger bench with my plywood top. Final height here is about 37.5, maybe 37.75 inches high. My depth of 36 inches from the wall. Very common countertop height. Very comfortable for me. Was actually quite impressed of how close I got these two to meet up with each other. This one on this bench and then the 2x4 top. Little bit of a lip there, but really just very, very minimal, maybe a 1/16 of an inch at the most. I was also quite impressed with how tight I got these corners cut. Not that I'm trying to pat myself on the back here, but just kind of impressed myself there a little bit. I'm not using any real high quality tools here. I mean, I'm using a compound miter saw and a circular saw, basically, a screw gun, and the only kind of piece of fancy equipment I got is I do have a small compressor and a pneumatic nailer for doing the finishing nail work, finishing nails there on the paneling. And then also I did a larger finishing nail here on the 2x4s for the 2x4 top, mainly just to hold them down. These 2x4s are glued with construction adhesive to the workbench frame. So once that construction adhesive dries, these 2x4s are not coming off. So that those finish nails are, to be honest with you, are really just there to hold the 2x4s down until the construction adhesive dries. Once that happens, the finishing nails don't really serve too much of a purpose after that. The plywood top here is just screwed down. It's not glued down at all. That way if I ever mess it up or anything, I can just pop off half a dozen screws and pull the whole thing off and cut a new piece and put it on there if I need to. One thing I will point out, I'm going to pat myself in the back here again. If you notice, full 2x4s all the way across to the corner, a full 2x4 tied up against the wall. Didn't have to cut, didn't have to rip any 2x4s to get this to fit. Absolutely perfect joint. I would love to tell you that I planned it that way, but I didn't. You know, you could probably say that I, started at this end and then just worked my way here and then just stopped when I got here. I didn't. This is the first 2x4 I laid. This is at the very edge of this bench, flush up with the edge of that bench, laid this one, laid them all down all the way across, and then had a perfect one in the end. I honestly didn't think that I was going to be able to pull that off. I thought that I might have to rip one to a narrow width or maybe have a larger gap between the bench and the wall, but man, it worked perfect. I think that's the last time I'm ever going to divulge that I didn't plan it that way. It was just a happy little accident. I think I'll take credit for that from now on. But we're all done here. It's about 12:30 in the morning. So we got a lot of work done today. Got all this paneling hung today. Built that little bench. Put the top on that one. Oh, a lot of work today. But we're all done. And worked on this, about 4 hours today is what it took me after I got home from work. So a couple of things I have left to do. I have to do small pieces of paneling here to finish off the end of this wall. Do a little bit of molding. I'm not going to do a lot of molding. Obviously, this is a workshop area, not a kitchen. So, but I am going to do a little bit of molding just to kind of dress up some of these edges, things like that. Took a little bit of sandpaper to it already just to knock down some of the rough corners and whatnot. So it's looking pretty good. I'm very impressed with it. Turned out really nice. But we still have more work to do. Got some shelves and things I'm going to be hanging, just small shelves. I'm going to be replacing this old, worn out, decrepit, really loud fluorescent light. I'm going to put 1 or 2 new lights up in here to get myself some more light back in this corner, especially with this little wall up now. It really kind of darkens this corner quite a bit. So we need some more some lights back here, so we're going to replace that. Don't forget, we also got the shelving area that I've been building over on the other side. That's taking kind of a back seat to this project for right now, but we're going to jump back on that too. So part 2 all done. Day 2, pretty tired, so I'm going to call it quits for tonight and hopefully wrap it all up tomorrow.